All right, so today we're going to do long division, but it is with polynomials instead of regular long division. So what I'm first going to do is going to review regular long division with numbers so you can see the parallels between dividing with polynomials and dividing with regular numbers. So the example I'm going to use is I'm going to say something like 15032 divided by 21. All right, so one of the things that I like to do to remember the steps is, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? And the answer to that is yes, but maybe they're not really cheeseburgers. So I'm going to put this up here as my little reminder. Does McDonald's serve burgers? And what this means is, this is the order of the steps that you're going to use. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. And I'm going to just tell you right now, the mistake that everybody makes is in the subtraction mistake. They forget to change all the signs or subtract all the things that are underneath here. It's not such a big deal in here because there's only one thing, but when there's two terms to subtract, you need to remember to subtract both of those terms. So let's just go through these steps here. So divide, we're going to take 21 into 15032. So what we do is we go through these digits. So 21 doesn't go into 1, 21 doesn't go into 15, but 21 goes into 150. And you can sort of estimate with 20. So how many times would 20 go into 150? And I'm going to say 7. And I'm running into this a little bit, so I will erase that. And so the next step is multiply. So we take 21, not just 20, but 21 times 7, and we would get 147. And the next step is to subtract. What I like to say to myself in here is change the signs. So I'm just going to go change the signs. So for that, so I'm going to be left, when I subtract 147 from 150, I'm left with 3. So then the next step is the B for bring down. And so we bring down the 3 and make it 33. So then we start again. We go back to the beginning. We go divide. So 33 divided by 21, or 20, it goes in once. So 21 times 1 is 21. And then we subtract, and we get 12. And then the next step is to bring down the 2. So 21 into 122. I'm going to guess that's 11. I'm sorry, it wouldn't be 11. It would be 5. And let's just see if that works. So that would be 105. And we subtract, and we have to borrow from here, 7. And we get 17. So now we're done, because 17 is less than 21. So this would be a remainder of 17, or we would say plus 17 over 21, which is sort of what we want to do over here. So that's divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down with regular division. So one other thing I want to bring up is this 0. The first thing you want to do with dividing here is put things in descending order. Now, notice that there's a 0 placeholder. The hundreds place here is a 0. We need to have a placeholder in your polynomial too. We need to have every single power of x represented. If it's not written there, we need to make it a 0. So I'm going to first start by rewriting this. It's going to be 8x to the third plus 4x squared. And notice we're missing an x term. So I'm going to say plus 0x plus 7. That's the same 0 that we would have over here. And we're going to divide that by 2x plus 3. And I should have left a little more room for that. So I'm going to just erase that right now. All right, so we are going to start with the dividing. Now remember when I said you can just estimate with the 20 instead of the 21? We're going to sort of do the same thing here. So we're just going to divide by just the 2x, not the 2x plus 3. So what I like to do, just to sort of help myself out a little bit, I just divide the first term by the 2x. And it's easier sometimes if I write it down. So this would be 4x squared. And we're going to write it over here. 4x squared. So that's the divide part. And now I erase this just because I don't like to have it there. It gets kind of confusing. So the multiply part, we have to multiply the 4x squared times both of these terms. So this would be 8x to the third, and these should always match. And then it would be plus 12x squared. And these should also always match. So what we want to do here, this is that subtract step. So what I say to myself is I go change the signs, and I change the signs on both these terms. So what happens is those go away, and then I have it written right here. I'm not going to remember if I've written the negative over here. I have to have it right here. 4 minus 12x squared is minus 8x squared. The next step is bring down. So we're going to bring down the plus 0x. And so then we start again. So we're going to do 8x squared divided by 2x, and that's going to be minus 4x minus there. And so, again, I'm going to erase this so I don't confuse myself with it being there. So 2x times negative 4x is minus 8x squared, and negative 4x times the 3 is minus 12x. What's the next step? Subtract, change the signs. Remember that. So those now add up to 0. And so we're going to get 12x right here. Now we needed to have that 0x there. We would have had nothing to subtract because we need to subtract like terms. And then we bring down the plus 7. So now I notice that this x and this x are the same power, so I can still divide. So I'm going to do this one more time. I start with the divide. So I'm going to 12x divided by the 2x. So I have this. And so I get plus 6. And so I'm going to erase this. And now I'm going to multiply. So the 2x times 6 is going to be 12x. Notice that matches again. Then I have the 3 times 6 is plus 18. So now the subtraction part is change the sign. So change the signs. Those go away again, and I get 7 minus 18, which is negative 11. So that's the remainder. Since there's no x left to divide this, remember over here we did plus 17 over 21. We're going to do minus 11 over 2x plus 3. And that's our final answer for this division problem. All right, so just a little reminder of all the extra things that we did. The hints are divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. The hint for subtraction is to change the signs on every single term. The other hint was there's a 0 placeholder here. If there's not 3, 2, we need a 1, 0. So we need a 0 placeholder because you need to be able to subtract like terms. And the other hint is when you multiply, make sure you multiply both these terms. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you next time.